And then there's part 3. So what was Elroy trying to do to Tim by taking him out to the water? So the next day they go out onto the water over here, and where is it? 400. So it starts right around here. It struck me then that he must have. He takes him out to the water in the middle of the river that's right between Canada and the U.S. It struck me then that he must have planned it. I'll never be certain, of course, but I think he meant to bring me up against the realities, to guide me across the river and take me to the edge and stand on a kind of vigil as I chose a life for myself. So Tim feels that Elroy was giving him what he wanted, and when he took him out on the boat, Tim would only have to jump off the boat and he could basically just swim his way across to Canada. I remember staring at the old man. He says it right here. I was that close. I could see tiny red berries on the bushes. I could see a squirrel on the tree. I was that close, 20 yards, and I could see the delicate work of the leaves, the texture of the soil, the brown needles beneath the pines. He can just jump, and he's in Canada. How do you feel about the emotions Tim is going through while trying to jump? So he goes down here. What would you do? Would you jump? Would you feel pity for yourself? Would you think about the family and your childhood and your dreams and all you're leaving behind? Would it hurt? Would it feel like dying? Would you cry? Would I cry? Would you cry as I did? No, I tried to swallow it back. I tried to smile. So he's thinking like, at what cost would it really be to jump right now, to just go across this river and swim to Canada? How much would it really hurt? And like, can you relate to them? So Tim's emotions when he considered jumping were very intense, obviously. He didn't know whether he would jump or not. He was scared to actually jump off the boat and leave his family. And when it came to time to face the decision, he realized he couldn't do it. He physically got stuck and he started crying. Right here. A moral freeze. I couldn't decide. I couldn't act. I couldn't comfort myself with even a pretense of modest human dignity. All I could do was cry, quietly, not bawling, just the chest chokes. It's okay. I'm gonna post videos of this anyway. Don't worry. So do you like this next question? I'm almost done here. Tim has a dream or a hallucination about being between Canada and America. So this part is like really kind of dense and confusing. If you want to read it, it's interesting, I think. But he's having like a dream or like a hallucination, and he talks about it all through this. And he says that a hallucination. I couldn't, I suppose, but it wasn't real as anything I would ever feel. I saw my parents calling to me from the far shoreline. I saw my brother and sister, all the townsfolk, the mayor and the entire chamber of commerce, all of like the city hall, all of the government, the local government, all of my old teachers and girlfriends and high school friends. And he just talks about all this stuff that like a marching band playing fighting songs. All of my aunts and uncles were there. Abraham Lincoln in St. George, a 9-year-old girl. Like he just starts, naming random things, and then all of a sudden on the other side, he starts talking about people that would be against the war. Jane Fonda as Barbarella. This was a movie from during this time period. That was like an anti-Vietnam time. That was an anti-Vietnam thing. Plato's Republic. This is philosophy. He just starts like naming all of these things, and he sees on both sides of the river. And then this part here, there was a slim young man I would one day kill with a hand grenade along a red clay trail outside the village of Maiki. So he's having like flash forwards of what he thinks will happen at this war. He predicts somebody that he will one day kill. He's just seeing all this crazy stuff on this river where he's trying to decide, should I jump or should I not jump? It's really intense. It's a nice scene. A lot of the references are very confusing, but again, if you look at the numbers and read this, it kind of explains exactly what they are a little bit better. Where was it? My unborn daughter waved at me, and my 2 sons hopped up and down. A drill sergeant named Blyton, all this stuff. So this is all stuff that he hasn't seen yet. He's having, predictions of the future, memories of the past, and it's just split between this river. And this is the last question here. What final reasons does Tim end up saying that he has to go to war? So he says, I tried to jump, it just wasn't possible. All those eyes on me, the town, the whole universe, and I couldn't risk the embarrassment. It was as if there was an audience to my life, that swirl of faces along the river, and in my head I could hear people screaming at me. Traitor, they yelled, turncoat. I felt myself blush. I couldn't tolerate it. I couldn't endure the mockery or the disgrace or the patriotic ridicule. Even in my imagination, the shore just went 20 yards away. I couldn't make myself be brave. It had nothing to do with morality. Embarrassment. That's all it was. And right then I submitted. I would go to the war. I would kill and maybe die because I was embarrassed not to. So basically, he's saying he instead of following his heart, which says not to go to war, he's he's following his head, which says don't be embarrassed, don't be a coward, just do this thing even though you don't want to, because it's better than dealing with the embarrassment and the treachery and the ridicule of actually avoiding your family and running away. So I think I mean, it's a really fun scene, and then the story pretty much ends with him, Elroy remained quiet, he kept fishing, he worked his line with the tip of his fingers. So this old man is literally just sitting on a boat, watching this 21-year-old kid try to decide whether or not he's going to jump. And then eventually he realizes he's not jumping, so he's like, okay, time to wrap it up, and he takes him back to the hotel. So these are the questions, these are my answers. Again, I will give you my answers.